We are back with Milking Stool Ministry, and we are talking about John chapter 4 today. I issued a little challenge last week with the homework to pick out sort of a chunk of scripture that you liked, a verse or two. I did too. And then to go ahead and talk, or to make tangents, underline, highlight, whatever, circle, but to make little connections off, be it with other scripture, be it with your life, just to sort of create tangents for yourself. This week we're going to do the same exact thing where we're picking out a couple verses, but instead of creating tangents or connections between those and other scripture, I'm going to ask you to really push yourself to make this text relevant to your life by creating application points in there. So creating tangents, creating the little spin-offs that are very practical nowadays for you. I think that it's easy to feel like the Bible is sort of old or archaic or maybe vintage, but not in the chic way. And so I just want to take this week to make it relevant to today and to modern times. And I know that is the case. Just even looking at John chapter 4, there's so much relevance here in the chapter in what Jesus is doing. I'm going to go ahead, block my hand and talk. I am going to go ahead and speak specifically about Jesus talking with a Samaritan woman because I was most sort of drawn to that part. I found, well, first, so in chapter 6, in verse 6, it says, Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. The idea of Jesus in this flesh, in this human body, he became tired. He was worn out. He was weary. These days were long and they were hard, and I'm sure the weather was hot. And I'm sure he wasn't eating the way that, we're all eating with our packed lunch. And just the idea that his body became tired and that he chose to rest. I'm not good at choosing to rest, so that alone is beautiful to me. But then the conversation that ensues is because Jesus took a moment to sit down. He took a moment to sit by the well, and in that, an opportunity was created. I think that we feel like in order to have opportunity, in order to speak of Jesus or to point at Jesus, we feel like we need to be constantly pursuing. While I think that pursuit is good and I think it's important, I also think that God delivers opportunity to us, be it at work or at home or on our softball teams or at Starbucks every morning. I believe that that there are opportunities that sort of befall us, and that those can happen in times of rest. Sometimes in the time of rest, you're going to need to be ministering or sort of pointing yourself, redirecting yourself. And I think that that's why all of us are here and gathered around Bible study, because we feel that need to be redirected, to be pointed. And so we are attempting to do so for ourselves. And I think he'd give us all a pat on the back if you just want to know my humble thoughts. But then Jesus says to her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you the living water. I think that we are so busy sort of giving of ourselves, so busy attempting to do the best we can for his kingdom, that we don't think about asking of others ourselves. I realize that help is not something that I'm good at asking for. Help is not something I'm entirely comfortable with, but it's also vital. And Jesus was put in everyone's life to help them, yours and mine included. And so the idea of there are going to be people put in our lives to help us, be them more mature Christians, be them mentors, be them pastors, be them Beth Moore, who you love and read all the time. There are people put in our lives to help us, to sort of serve as pointers when we get off track, to serve as encouragement, and just to serve as inspiration. Sometimes the reason that I get up and read my Bible in the morning is because I follow a couple girls on Instagram who do it, and I want to be as dedicated to reading my Bible as they are. It's probably not the most mature way to approach Bible study, but we're being honest, right? We're meeting at the milk stool and being honest. So there's all of that, sort of a giant word vomit. I guess my challenge for you guys this week is to figure out how you point yourself in the right direction. When you're resting, to seek out those, or to keep your eyes open, I guess, for those opportunities that might present themselves. And then I just wanted, like I always do, to share a Bible verse with you guys. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot at mealtime, believe it or not. But in so John chapter 4, verse 34, Jesus says, "My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work." Just, that's a cool thing. Like, my food is my mission. What sort of fills me, what nourishes me is him and what I know I have to accomplish for him. And that is a really cool thing. And the idea of sort of that spiritual food satisfying your soul, like, dang.